Hey guys, if you're interested in any figures or figure accessories that I have currently up for sale, go ahead and send me an email. Just go to my channel page on YouTube and go to the About section, click on that, and you'll be able to get in touch with me. How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back again with another Hot Toys figure review, and this time it's going to be of the Hot Toys TMS 051 Joel Miller from the HBO series The Last of Us. Wait a minute. I think I need to start over. Cut. Okay, take two. Action. How's it going, my fellow collectors? I have returned once more with another Hot Toys figure review. And this time it is the TMS 051 The Mandalorian and Grogu from Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Yes, I got it right this time. Alright, so I just got this in the mail today. We'll start off the review right away with the first category, as usual, being the source information. And Season 2 was pretty good. I enjoyed it all the way through. And it did suck that he lost the Razor Crest at the end of the season, because he lost almost everything in there, except, of course, for the Beskar Spear. What I didn't like, though, was the Book of Boba Fett. I'm sorry for all the fans out there that love that show, but I didn't enjoy it. It started out strong, the first few episodes, but toward the end it got really weak. And, man, it was pretty bad, at least for me. But as for Season 2 of The Mandalorian, I don't know, I think I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. Just those last moments with Luke Skywalker and Mando handing off Grogu to him, it was pretty epic and memorable. I don't think I'm gonna be able to give it a lower score, so yeah, it's gonna get a 10. So there you go, guys. There's the first category done. And I'm just gonna talk you guys through this pose. This is actually the pose from the Season 2 poster, where Mando is walking through the desert carrying Grogu in a satchel. So it's kind of like an angle like this. Alright, so moving on to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of packaging. And it's pretty much your standard packaging, which you get with every Hot Toys Star Wars figure. The black and gray with the V-cut in the middle, displaying a picture of the figure, and a cigar band that wraps around the front of the box. So we have a picture of the Mandalorian here, and right below him there's the Star Wars logo. It's in a reflective metallic gloss finish, and then the cigar band that wraps around the front with another picture of the figure on the right hand side. It says Star Wars TMS 051, The Mandalorian and Grogu 1/6 scale collectible set. And on the bottom right, you get the Hot Toys logo. And on one side, it says the same thing that it says on the front. And on the bottom as well, same thing. And nothing much on the top side. And then on the other side, black and gray again, with another picture of the figure of the cigar band wrapping around. You get the Disney logo. It says Star Wars again. Pretty much the same thing that it says on the other side. On the top, we have another Star Wars logo. On the bottom, another Star Wars logo. And on the back, we get all the information from all the Hong Kong retail stores that sell Hot Toys products. We get the warnings and stuff that nobody really reads. And on the very bottom, there's a barcode. And on the top, we get the Disney Seal of Approval sticker. And then above that, There's a little scuff, but it reads Hot Toys presents Television Masterpiece Series TMS 051, The Mandalorian and Grogu 1/6 scale collectible set. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the box. And once we open it up, we get a slipcover with a picture of the figure again. Only this time he's in a dynamic pose and he's just scrapped a Dark Trooper. And on the bottom again, it says Star Wars TMS 051, The Mandalorian and Grogu 1/6 scale collectible set. And once we remove the slipcover, we get the blister that carries the figure and all of its accessories. But as you can tell, I've already taken them out. So yeah, pretty basic packaging. Same thing that we've seen hundreds of times before with all of these Star Wars figures. But since it's getting old, I think I'm going to have to drop down the score. Because, I don't know, I think I'm just getting tired of seeing the same thing over and over. The same design. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Alright, so that does it for the packaging. And stick around, guys, and we'll continue on with the rest of the review. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I gotta tell you guys, the likeness is spot on. You could tell that it's Pedro Pascal 100%. I mean, I would have preferred a more stern look, like his eyebrows frowning, like he's mad. But I guess they were going for that expression from the ending of the season where he was saying goodbye to Grogu. But, you know, this expression isn't bad. I just would have liked that stern look better, personally. But there is one thing that is kind of off, because in that ending scene, when he's saying goodbye to Grogu, he looks like he's gained a little weight. Like he's a little chubbier from the cheeks. Maybe it's the camera that adds 10 pounds. I don't know. I'm not sure. But he definitely looks like he gained more weight by the end of that season. And that's something that wasn't captured here. But that's okay with me because I prefer him a little thinner than what he looked like in that ending scene. So yeah, I'm really happy with the head sculpt. They got the 5 o'clock shadow going on. They also got the bedhead hairdo. You know, he's got the little tuft of hair that's kind of standing up, straight up on the back of his head, which is pretty cool. So yeah, really, really good. I have to say that it's 100% accurate to how he looked. Except for that chubbiness. You know, I prefer my Din Djarin to look a little thinner than being chubby. I mean, he kind of looked like this at the end of Season 1 when IG-11 took his helmet off. So yeah, I prefer this look. So for the likeness, I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10. Great job, Hot Toys. And if I talk you guys through this pose, he's basically just doing a systems check of all of his gear. Because if you remember, one of his gauntlets controls his jetpack remotely. So he's just checking to see if it's flight ready. I got his dark saber right there on his hip. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And I will say that Hot Toys did some major improvements since the last Beskar Mandalorian figure. He looks really good. Especially with the chrome plating on his armor now. Yeah, it definitely looks a lot more accurate to what he looked like in the show now. So we'll start as usual from the head down. The helmet is pretty much the same sculpt that they've been using since the first Mandalorian figure, which was the Durasteel version. It just has a different paint job. It just has a chrome finish now this time. And it's got weathering all throughout it, especially near the lines of the helmet. And moving on down to his shoulder armor, he still has the Mudhorn signet on his right shoulder. And on the other side, there's no signet, but it does have a chrome finish with weathering on it. And moving on to his chest armor, I had to move it up an inch closer to his head because I think it was sitting too low. And it's easy to move it up because it's attached with Velcro. So I just decided to move his chest armor up an inch as well as the abdomen armor up an inch also. And it looks a lot better like that. because when it was sitting lower, you could see too much of his neck piece and the cape, the that wraps around the front of his neck. So yeah, it looks a lot better now with that adjustment. Moving on to the cape, I definitely like this cape a lot better than the first Beskar Mando version. It's shorter and it's frayed from the bottom, and it looks a little bit more weathered. And on top of everything else, it's wired, which is great because now you can have it as if it was blowing in the wind, or as you can see here, the flight pose. His cape would be flapping in the wind as he's flying, which is awesome. So you can definitely get a lot more poses out of this figure now because of that. I forgot to mention too that the cape also has some holes in it. The last Beskar Mando figure didn't have any holes at all, just the one that you use to put the strap of the Amban rifle that wraps around the rifle. That first version was a lot cleaner than this one. It didn't really have any weathering at all. A clean cape and everything, so it makes sense, because he's barely getting his armor. By the start of Season 2, he's already been through a lot more. He's constantly going through battles and bounties. If you guys remember, he was always getting shot by blaster fire on the armor. So it makes sense that he's got scorch marks all over it. Not to mention the speeder bike crash that he had. So yeah, he's pretty much been through the mill by the time that we see him in this armor. In Season 2, I mean. Moving on down, we get the same straps that we got with the first version of the Beskar Mandalorian. They may be a touch darker brown than the previous version. And then we also get the crotch flap. It's definitely more weathered. You could see the seam lines have dirt in it, whereas the previous version didn't have that. It was a lot more cleaner there as well. And we still have the blue pads on both hips. We got his blaster holster and the thigh armor pieces. The one on his right leg is a new one. Also a lot of weathering on it. And we also get his knee missiles. He didn't have that in the previous version of this figure. It's awesome that they decided to bring it back because I really liked it. And if you want to count this as part of his outfit, the Rising Phoenix jetpack, it's also been improved upon. It's also got the chrome finish and weathering. So yeah, really nice. And then moving on down to his boots. Really nice as well. They're pretty much the same reused boots that the previous version had. The only difference is that he doesn't have the stain of Beskar that's on his right shin. It was located right above the Amban shells that he wears around his shin on his right leg. He's missing that. And when we take a look at his back, he's got more armor. Nothing much changed since the previous version except for the chrome finish that they gave it. He still has his thermal detonators on his hip. And it's pretty much the same thing. They haven't changed it. I think they should have, because that far left mine just keeps falling off. I think they should have made it magnetized or something, because if you just look at it wrong, it'll fall off. So yeah, a really nice improvement. They've pretty much improved on everything throughout the outfit. The only thing I don't like is that they gave it a little bit too much weathering. You can't really appreciate the chrome finish because it's saturated with weathering. Like the scorch marks on his helmet, on his chest, especially this right thigh armor. They just went a little bit too overboard with the weathering. So it could have been a lot better by just not adding so much weathering. So because of that, it's going to have to get a 9 out of 10. It would have gotten a perfect 10, but yeah, it's just too oversaturated with weathering. And I know you can take some paint thinner or nail polish remover and just rub some of that weathering off. But I don't want to rub it completely off to make it look like he's clean, like he just made the Beskar armor. I would like it to have at least some weathering on it, but I'm not good enough to do that. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it as is. Alright guys, so that's the outfit category, a 9 out of 10. Now we're gonna move on to the next category. Okay, so we made it to the category of articulation. And this isn't something I normally do, but I feel that it's necessary for this figure. I should have done it for the Beskar Deluxe figure that came out before this, but I didn't. So I feel that when I did that review for the articulation, it was a little lacking. Just like with the last Beskar Mandalorian figure, people with this figure, they're still removing the padded suit that's underneath the outfit. And again, I don't feel that's necessary. You can get plenty of range of motion with this figure. And I'm about to show you guys that right now. So we'll start off with the head. Full 360 degrees all the way around. You can look up really good for flight poses, that's pretty cool. And down really good as well. And you can tilt the head also as well. The Pedro Pascal has head sculpt. It's not as mobile with that head as with this one. Basically, you could just get a 360 degree turn and you can look down a little bit and up a little bit. Not much head tilt. And when we work our way to the shoulders, pretty good. Not much. I don't think he has any shoulder shrug. He does have a little bit of butterfly joint, and he can rotate the arms forward just like with the previous figure. Pretty much just 90 degrees, maybe just a little bit further. So about there. And when we rotate them backwards, the joints are pretty stiff on this, which is good. It's a sign of a brand new figure. So when we rotate them backward, you can get pretty much that much backward. Wouldn't go any further than that. And when we rotate them upward and outward, what I would do is rotate it forward first, how we had it before, and then rotate it outward. See, now you get closer to a T-pose that way. Because if you just go straight up like that, then it's gonna cause a lot of tension here. So I would go upward and outward. So yeah, pretty much that much. And he has double bend elbows, which is great. Can bend them pretty much all the way like that. And he has decent ab crunch, not too much. So he can crunch his abs about that much. So, and then when we put it backward, doesn't really lean that far back. It's mostly from the hips that he can lean backwards. but from the abs, it doesn't really lean that much backward. And when we move on to the hips, you can kick forward about that much. Yeah, no further than that. And you can kick backwards, not that much either. He does have a double bend knee. Kick that much. So yeah, that's, and then you can also kick outward about that much. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And he does also have a thigh swivel, so you can rotate it inside and out. And let's try with the other ankle. So yeah, kicks up that much, down that much, and from side to side pivot that much. So pretty good overall, the ankle articulation. I love that they stuck with the same design with the boot cut and all, because if it ain't broke, then why fix it? So yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation. So yeah, like I said, you don't have to remove the padded suit underneath. He gets pretty good articulation anyway. And if you do remove the padded suit, it makes him look a lot thinner, and then it makes the outfit a lot baggier. So he looks like a toothpick basically. And I'd rather not have that. I'd rather have him, you know, kind of muscular. So, but yeah, so given all of that articulation, I'm gonna have to oh, I didn't go over the wrist pegs. They're pretty much just your standard Hot Toys wrist pegs. It's a ball peg and on a hinge. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, pretty decent articulation. So I'm gonna have to give it a blah, just like I did with the last Beskar Mandalorian figure. Okay guys, so that does it for articulation. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of accessories. And the Mandalorian comes with a ton of stuff. Before I forget, this is the standard version, or the collector's edition as some people like to call it. The deluxe version comes with the speeder bike handle and like 3 or 4 bags and Boba Fett's helmet and jetpack and a strap for the speeder bike, so you could tie those bags onto the speeder bike. So all those pieces are missing from this figure, since it is the standard version or the collector's edition. I didn't feel the need to get the deluxe version because I don't have the speeder bike. And I'm not going to pose Mando with the bags hanging off of the speeder bike handle anyway, because he was only in that look for like less than a minute, because after he crashed, he just walked like that to the next town, and that was that. So I don't feel it's a necessary pose to put him in. I feel it's only worth it to get those accessories if you have the speeder bike. But moving on to the category of accessories, we'll start off with the hands. He comes with a total of 8 hands. So as usual, we get a pair of fists, a pair of gun gripping hands, and this time around the relaxed hands are wider. They're more open as opposed to the previous version of the Beskar Mandalorian figure. The hands on that one were a little bit more closed. And then we have the gripping hands for the Beskar spear or the vibroblade knife. And I feel like all of these hands are a little bit more weathered as opposed to the previous Beskar Mando. I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination. If anyone is interested, I do have the Season 1 Beskar Mandalorian figure up for sale. You know how to contact me if you want it. But anyway, I don't remember if the hands on that figure looked like this. Moving on, we do get another Grogu figure, as we have gotten before. Nothing has really changed on it. Maybe the paint applications are a little bit darker. Nothing much has changed from what I could tell, but from what I can see, it looks pretty much the same as the previous Grogus that we've gotten in the past. The facial expression and ears are a little different, but that's about it. I still stand by my previous statements of this figure. He looks too toyish. They haven't made any improvements in that regard. The clothes are still sculpted. He's still mostly static. The only articulation is in the neck. You can pivot it from side to side, make him look up or make him look down. That's it. And swivel it too, 360 all the way around. But yeah, like I said, they haven't improved it at all. They haven't given him any hair. He still looks glossy. The skin doesn't look like it's real skin. Yeah, he just looks like a toy, so they could have definitely improved on that. Another thing is that this Grogu doesn't have the Mythosaur necklace like the previous Grogu had. So that's missing from the accessories. He comes with the vibroblade knife, which is exactly the same as the previous version. He comes with the whistling birds effect. And these came with the deluxe version of the previous Beskar Mando version. They're pretty much the same except for the gauntlet section where the whistling birds come out. That's a chrome finish now. We also get the flamethrower effect piece. And this is also pretty much the same as the previous version as well. It's still got the translucency. So it looks good when you have light behind it. And we also get the grappling hook. You could put it in his gauntlet and make it look like he's firing it off. That also came with the previous Beskar Mando. Next we have the Amban sniper rifle, which is pretty good as well. I'm really digging the paint job. It looks like it's been used or fired. And it still comes with all the same features as the previous version. It's got the strap, which you can use to attach to his chest armor. And you can remove the scope, and it's got the articulation, where you can open the chamber to slide in a Amban shell. There you go, so you just slide in your shell and he's loaded and ready to go. Next we have the Beskar Spear. A lot of collectors have stated that they're disappointed that this piece wasn't metal or die-cast. It's plastic. So there's a lot of people that say that they're disappointed with that. But I don't mind. It reduces the cost. That's all I care about. We don't have to pay more for it, so... Moving on, we get a spare pair of wrist pegs, just in case you break the ones that are already on the figure. We also get the helmet light. This also came with the previous Mandalorian figure. We also get the whistling birds that have not been fired yet, but are activated. And we also get the headpiece of the Darksaber. So if you want to make it look like it's deactivated, you would put this piece on, the hilt. So you would just plug this in and hang it on his belt or put it in his hand and act like he's giving it to Bo-Katan or something. Whatever. And then we get the Darksaber itself with the beam coming out. Now the instructions say that you should use these hands to hold the Darksaber. but I wouldn't do that because the grip of the Darksaber hilt is pretty thick. So if you put it in this hand, it's going to stretch the fingers and it's basically going to widen the hand. And you don't want that to happen because these hands are also used for gripping the Beskar spear. And the Beskar spear is a lot thinner than the Darksaber hilt. So it's basically going to loosen the hands, and when you place the Beskar spear in there, it's going to be all wobbly. So what I did is use the gun gripping hands to hold the Darksaber. It's better off that way. And it also comes with the Beskar spear holder. If you want to make it look like he's carrying it on his back, this is what you would use. So what you would do is remove the head, place this around his neck, put the head back on, and then put the Beskar spear in the holder. Next we have the detonator that Mando used when they were fighting the Krayt Dragon. They made the Krayt Dragon swallow a whole bunch of explosives, and then they used this detonator to set it off and blow the Krayt Dragon's guts all over the place. So it's cool that it comes with that. I believe the 1/4 scale Mandalorian also comes with that detonator as well. So that's pretty cool. And then he also comes with the Din Djarin head sculpt, which we already took a look at and I told you my thoughts on it. It's pretty cool. And he also comes with the Rising Phoenix jetpack, which is in a weathered chrome finish this time. Still magnetized and it's still got the felt on the back, so when you place it on his back, it doesn't scratch his back armor. And this time it's got a ring on the bottom, so this would be used to hook it onto the bags that the deluxe version comes with. You would hang it on those bags. And then he also comes with the bag that he would carry Grogu in, and it's made of a cloth material. Nothing really special about it, but it looks nice when it's on him, so. And as you can see, it's got a felt pad which Grogu can stand on. I guess it's supposed to boost him up so he's not completely all the way inside the bag. Because if he was, I don't think we'd be able to see him, what's in the bag. I guess his head wouldn't be poking out if it didn't have that. But that's just my guess. It also comes with the thermal detonator that is on his belt. I already expressed my thoughts on that. They should have fixed the problem where it keeps popping off and falling. You could easily lose it since it's such a tiny piece if you're not careful. But yeah, Hot Toys should have definitely put like a magnet on it or something to make it more secure on his belt. And in his holster, you see that he has his Blastech IB-94 blaster pistol, which is actually just a dressed up version of the Bergman 1894 pistol. Nothing much has changed on his pistol since the last version. The paint job is a little bit different. I think there's a little bit more weathering on it, but that's about it. But yeah, that's it for all the accessories. He definitely could have come with a lot more. I'll give you guys an example here. I'll just move this out of the way, so here we go. The blast effects for his jetpack, he does not come with those. Those are from the previous Beskar Mando version. He could have come with this lightning effect that is supposed to go around the Amban rifle to make it look like he's firing. So he definitely should have come with that. That would have been cool. He could have come with a flight pole to make it look like he's flying. This time around we only get this stand, which is basically your basic Star Wars base that we've seen hundreds of times before, with the 2 footprints in it. Nothing really different there. Just your standard crotch grabber there, and his metal nameplate in the front. So yeah, really nothing different here. But like I said, it could have come with the flight pole to make it look like he's flying with his jetpack. That would have been nice. He could have come with the head of the shifter from the Razor Crest. It doesn't come with any of that, so yeah. It's missing a lot of things. It's very bare bones. So because of that, I think the accessories is going to have to get a 6 out of 10. Because some of those things are necessary, like the flight pole. Like, he's not going to be just standing all the time. I mean, he might as well not come with the Rising Phoenix jetpack if he's just going to be standing all the time, you know? So there you go, guys. That does it for the accessories. Now we're going to add up the scores and wrap up this review. Alright, so to add up the scores and wrap up this review, this figure gets a 49 out of 60. There's one thing I forgot to mention. The strap for the Amban rifle. It still comes with the same plastic peg that we've had in the past. You basically just plug it into the hole on the strap of his chest. And I gotta tell you guys that that hole is very small and the peg doesn't seem to want to fit in. It's extremely tight. Every time I put it on, I feel like I'm gonna break the peg because it's made of plastic and it's very fragile. You gotta be very careful when you're doing that. So just keep that in mind if you decide to pick up this figure. Be very careful when you're putting the Amban rifle on his back. But yeah, it's a really good figure in my opinion. Don't let the score deter you. Definitely worth picking up if you love the Mandalorian show. Yeah, so that does it for this review. Another review done and in the bag. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. But until next time, guys, I shall catch you all later on the tube. Alright, bye guys.